mark on the system, the judicial system. So this is what my request would be, that if you can include, think of including a component of ethics for legal professionals, maybe ethics, judicial ethics and ethics of lawyer, you will do a lot of good service to this profession. And when you are doing this ethical component, you can categorize them, their duties towards the court, their duties towards the witnesses, their duties towards the victims, etc., etc. Because lawyers are actually, we say that they are officers of the courts. So they should be assisting the court in finding the truth. And if you know that India is at number 2 when it comes to number of lawyers we have in our country. I think the maximum number of lawyers are in the United States and in our country. So if we are producing this much volume of professionals who are actually not able to give quality service to the system, whether as a lawyer, as a judge, then if the system is losing credibility, then we know at least some blame would lie in the method of teaching also. In last 5 minutes, I would say how the method of teaching can be, what method of teaching can be applied for teaching evidence. For classroom teaching, I would say 25% of the time. You can include three methods in the classroom teaching. One would be the problem solving method. The second would be the case study, which is there in Delhi University. And third would be hypotheticals. Beyond illustrations, if you are able to develop such kind of material, it will help students to understand those principles better. Now the practical training for teaching law evidence, some thoughts, again on the basis of my experience, there will be some issues of practically possible or not, but that's for you to work it out. I would suggest practical training to include attachment of law students with the police stations to actually go and see the working of police. I had not, as I told you, when I sat as a judge, before that I had never seen the FIR. So until I was, during my training, I was sent to the police station. I really had no idea how the police system works. So attachment with the police station to know the working of the police would definitely help them to understand many aspects of procedure, criminal procedure code. Then their attachment with the investigating officer, so that they actually see how the investigating officer makes his or her first move on after receiving information of a cognizable offense or after the case has been marked to him for investigation, right from the time of arrest of the accused, then the way statements are recorded of witnesses, 161, the remand, maybe the line declaration, etc., etc., recovery. How the documents are prepared, because in the court as a lawyer or as a judge, to apply 25 and 27 of Evidence Act, you just have one paper, which would be the recovery memo or the seizure memo. And until and unless you actually see in which circumstances that document is prepared, it is not easy to apply those fundamental principles of evidence in section 25 and 27. Attachment with the lawyer. So we also had some system of attachment with the lawyers, but then that has been just a ritual. That has just been a ritual. Lawyers are probably too busy, or the students are not too serious. How you can make this attachment with the lawyer actually fruitful? It would be for you to work it out. How the I know in foreign universities, there's a lot of component of teaching where the students in the third year, they are attached with the lawyers and they actually work there. The way you see the chartered accountants, the students who are doing chartered accountant, they start working with a chartered accountant. So maybe they might not clear certain exams, but then you see by the end of maybe 1 year of attachment, the person would be able to do most of the work of the chartered accountant. So attachment with the lawyers, then attachment with the courtrooms also. Because that is the stage where the lawyer or the lawyer has to perform. That is the stage of performance. And if you don't know that how the scenario is, and it's not like you see in the films. It's in other states. It's really very chaotic. Really, we still have a very systematic system. I remember when I was attached with the judge during my training, it was a very heavy court. That magistrate had more than I think 15,000 cases with him on the court, and one day cause list would be 80 cases. And so since it was 80 cases per day, every case will have at least 2-3 people, litigants, 2 lawyers, the police wala. You can well imagine in the congested court, it would just look like a crowd. And you cannot imagine that you can never know what is happening in the court. Where is the evidence being recorded, how the evidence is being recorded, who's standing where, because it's just a crowd. And the judge is struggling actually to do his or her job. So attachment with the courtroom is very essential. Visit to the hospitals. Because in the criminal side, MLC is a very important piece of evidence. How the MLC is prepared, what is the procedure? When there's a casualty and then there's a referral and then there are certain protocols followed by JR, SR, specialists, etc., etc. Lawyers and judges would learn, but then they learn over a period of time. These things would help them to learn faster. Visit to jail also, maybe attachment, I would say this. And I said, yeah, there may be some issues of practical difficulty, but then I feel that this is the demand of the hour. And then attachment with the government departments also. There were during my civil posting, there were some revenue matters, and I had virtually no idea about revenue laws, because during my law days also, I never practiced. I became in charge straight away from the university. The revenue, I had no idea. I didn't know about the hierarchy also. What is the role of the kanugo? What is the role of the patwari? How would the revenue documents would look? And can you imagine? I didn't even know to hold that paper also correctly, because ex hijra and all, and those terms. And then you are deciding such serious matters. And those are the areas actually, because those are the areas which scare you. And then you start losing confidence and you start losing interest. So, this is what I have to share. And I would say I am sharing this on the basis of my experience. I learned a really very hard way. And I would expect that if the teaching of evidence is made more practical oriented, it would be much easier and much faster and much comfortable for a young lawyer and for a young judge to perform, to give quality assistance, which will lead to quality judgment, which will take care of delays, and probably will have a good system. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
I think this is the kind of first-hand experience coming from the field, pure primary court judge, and from not only primary court judge at the appellate level, or not only judge at the appellate level that you heard from this Jinga, but the primary court judge at the basic level. And right from student days, how she perceived of evidence law and what difficulties she encountered, and then ultimately to her thinking, which has a much greater emphasis on applied law. We speak, we have been telling that there should be an emphasis on academic understanding of law. That is what we are used to, but applied law is very important. That is what she has been telling us. He said there's legislative law, judge-made law, and then academic law. There are three law perspectives which must come and about which you must inform your students while teaching evidence. She has a great emphasis on applied law. Her observations, obviously some of them would devote some responses, others on which you can agree almost completely. The floor is open for your interaction because we are doing this course in an interactive mode, that these people interact and give their impressions of how easy, how difficult would it be to agree with some of your suggestions in practical terms, because this is a reality, academic reality, law teachers teaching evidence law course. Because there is a curriculum, there is difficulties, attendance requirement, testing period, so trimester system, and they don't have that freedom of sending the students to various wonderful places.
Even they will not allow. I don't know if a trial court judge can permit our students, 10, 20 students, which is already crowded.
I would say, sir, I remember something.
I think when we start this interaction session,
Yes, sir.
Vakka, I then expect a response.
We allow, Delhi allows.
Not only the Delhi, Tamil Nadu also. We will make arrangement.
I would say, okay, I would draw a parallel. Means if I have to draw a parallel with the skill of a doctor, I would say that evidence law is just like the surgery done in the medical profession. And how can you do surgery only by teaching in the classroom? You can't teach surgery unless you show them the cadaver. Evidence law is surgery of law.
You are drawing parallel with the medical profession, but I see a markable difference between the two. There the sole agency is NCI, medical council. Is that we have to focus on teaching the outdoor patient and indoor patient and everything. But in this profession, you have police, which do not disclose any information, not even the government officials. Then lawyers, those who have their own interests, they are regulated by Bar Council of India. In public department, court has come as a support to the students most of the time. But it involves not many different agencies where you cannot coordinate at all with this. And two, I think this suggestion is overburdening the system, education system. Why not we come out with an extended term of internship, say for 3 years, just like medical intern. 3 years after getting into judicial services, they should be as some intern. Extended, just like that before qualifying as a full-fledged practicing lawyer. 3 years as an intern. So why to overburden the system, education system only to give all these type of practical training?
I said that, sir, when I was saying there may be some comments about practical but I would say means, do you agree that these exposures are essential? That is your the exposure. Now we'll see means, if we agree that these exposures are essential because it will make them understand this particular field of law in a better way because they are actually seeing what is happening. Then maybe slowly because, and that's why we say there's a flaw in the teaching of law. And you always, and the one flaw is that there is the application component is really very less. And if slowly you start making efforts, means we, like in the judicial education, there was never a concept of training of judges. It is only in the last decade that an institutionalized form of a training has just started. There was intervention of the court, and before that, my seniors tell me that you've been really fortunate. I also underwent some training, but it was not a very organized training. I'm told the judges would just start working independently in the courts after giving them a week's time, and then they would struggle to learn. They'll struggle to learn. Now we, with the advancement in other areas, more and more emphasis is on making this law business also a thorough professional business. And that's why it means this 5-year law concept, when you, and then you have some internship concepts also, etc., etc. This is all to facilitate that. I said it's going to be difficult. Now in the judicial education, we have been able to have these collaborations and assistance with all these agencies are named here. And there's a reciprocal also. So for the police training also they are coming to us. The other departments also, revenue department, they send, and it's a two-way flow now. For the university, instead of leaving it to the individual students, which is going to be really a tough task and nobody is going to take it seriously, not everything all of a sudden, gradually you can start including them in your curriculum. For the visit to the police station, you can always coordinate with the senior most police officer there, and just maybe 2 days visit would be sufficient to give the students an idea. And even if they don't disclose, I would say they will not disclose. And I would say in the court attachment also, as a judge, I remember some students had come to me when I was in my court, I was in the court. Forget about the students, even if some newly appointed judges sent to me for training, I feel that also as a baggage. This is how we the human mind would think. But the thing is, that exposure itself, the visit to the police station where the young student will see the infrastructure, will give him idea. He'll be able to relate better. Maybe they'll concede, doesn't matter. Students, the judges doing matters of negotiable instruments act with no experience of going to the banks. You would not understand who's the drawer, who's the drawer. You will just mug up all these things, negotiable instruments. But what is the banking business?
No, but once you are part of the government, in whatever capacity, then it is much easier to have some coordination with other departments.
Yeah, that is there.
But just as a student, and one more difference I will try to bring out with the medical profession, that all the students, those who take admission in engineering, they just want to get out. But not all the students who take admission in engineering, be it 5-year course. Some of them will be trying for IAS, some will be for NGOs. So they themselves will not come forward to that type of exposure. So that's why I am suggesting, why not target those who come to that particular profession? Why not give that intensive training to those coming?
Well, see, your argument that many.
In continuation to what sir is saying, I am also from Punjab University, working there since 2006, and
I did my graduation.
last year I tried my best, because I am teaching besides evidence, I am teaching arbitration and mediation also. So it's good that being in Chandigarh we have arbitration mediation center in the High Court, so somehow I arranged the training. Now, out of 400 students, hardly 10 students are interested, and that too on the conditions, sir, on which date you will take us, and you will use your car, how you will go there, how you will come back. And particularly I would like to tell you one more thing, that those who are interested in this law field, those who want to either join judiciary, nowadays since perhaps nowadays you can just a fresh law pass out can also appear in the judicial services. Earlier there was a 3-year condition.
So for a small time.
For
For a small time.
no. Earlier there was a condition of 3 years. No, I am not talking about the training. I am talking about the advocacy, experience as an advocate. Now there is no requirement of experience. Now what most of the students they are doing, they join law and simultaneously they join some academy also. So they are interested in coaching classes rather than going in course or rather than visiting all these places. So that is the another difficulty which we are facing.
There I would say means what others are doing and with what intention they do means I would not even like to comment on that. We are talking about in the academic discussions we always dream about creating the most idealistic situation.
You have law faculties as old as Lucknow, Allahabad. No one has picked up this cue. You have wonderful Delhi law, very big faculty, but nobody has picked it because maybe they don't think that this is very important. I think doing their own research, studying and teaching is all important. Don't quarrel with anybody else. We must keep on doing this modest initiative. And I wish, in the coming time, this continue. KBR, I think, with your being there, and Shabir is away, but he is a man who would not give up very easily. This, I feel, is the only way building a strong rule of law foundation for our society. And in the course of our discussions, there were sometimes clashes with professors, Justice Nehru and all, idea level clashes, and this is because our rule of law foundation is still shaky. We have not been able to really lay that kind of foundation that English gentlemen would show, or even Canadian gentlemen. I have seen Canadian gentlemen, some of them are wonderful. So, but now we have the way of folk, which is like this, Mittal and all. C3, the judgments are coming, and the Academy is doing a lot of work to bring up the I think with that, you've been given this take-home exercise, and I wish, and for the flow chart, the first evidentiary flow chart, evidence, how does it move? How does a case, criminal case or civil case move? At what stage what happens? And who plays that role? Whether police, whether the judiciary, whether... So, this latest edition of this Universal Evidence Law, WARE Act, they have given new with quick review flow chart. They have talked about flow chart in red pages. Flow chart, particularly page 2 and 3, will be of great help to you when you are making your flow chart. I wish you could tell to the students, give them bold challenges, become मनोरंजन बनाने के लिए flow chart or something. Evidence law is scientific. इधर जाता है, इधर जाता है. Depends upon your ability to make it lively. Flow chart. यहाँ पे क्या होता है, यहाँ पे क्या होता है. What happens at this, what happens at this. You can make it as lively as you can. PowerPoint presentation on our flow chart. That will make it look like a science subject. Though it is hardly science, pure science. So with that, and then you have some task writing some case comments, some area, some cases. I think Mr. will agree with me, Venkateshwara, judgment which tries for a comment. Though coming from a lady, a sex court judge, more kindness to child witness was expected, was not. So there is topics on which you can import task is. What are your suggestions for the reform in the teaching content of evidence law and method teaching evidence? What is? Because we are at different levels, sir, of some universities, every university for instance, automatically case method. But there are many universities which do not have any idea of case method. Teaching through lecture method, grading in cases in between, that makes a lot of difference. Even some of the national law schools do not have case method. So that has to come in on some basic agreement on method of teaching. Evidence law is a subject which cannot be taught without case. It's very difficult. Otherwise, theoretical lectures would not serve the purpose. So these are take-home tasks, and I had told yesterday Professor Chandrasekhar Pillai was here. You write a good comment. He said that he would see that it is published in Supreme Court case, and even a 2-page comment being published in Supreme Court case is a big one. You get into authors list. How great is that? I know that I came to Delhi. I in a case of Justice Khanna's case. Udar Prasad, 330 were Udar Prasad limits on objective liability. Somebody said, you are taking Justice Khanna के खिलाफ इनके केस में कोई कमेंट्स लिखे इतने बड़े जज मैंने कहा नहीं बताओ क्या हुआ था I was lecturer nobody knew me then Indian Law Institute published my main worry was that Indian Law Institute के journal में publish होगा तो उससे 1,000 रुपया मिलता है 1,000 रुपये से लाइफ मेंबरशिप मिलता तो लाइफ मेंबरशिप के लिए मैंने वो केस कमेंट लिखा. So I sent the case comment to Central Jail, including Justice Khanna might not have liked it because it was critical of his judgment, but Justice Matthew responded. Justice Matthew said it is a contribution to criminal jurisprudence. I used to show that letter to everybody.
Overview of the establishment and history of the National Academy of Law Teachers, particularly for Honorable Justice Meena. I think in 2011, this idea of setting up the National Academy of Law Teachers started coming up. This was raised in this, I think, September Meena Institute of Legal Advocacy training workshop, along with the Society of Indian Law Firms. And after that, we had a long discussion on the Executive Council when New Delhi has taken a decision to set up. And what we have done is we have generated the money from our own resources. We have approached the UGC to give the financial support for this academy, but still we are awaiting this from the UGC. But meanwhile, what we have taken a decision as part of the Executive Council, where we have Professor B.D. Pandey and Professor Chandrasekhar Pillai, that this is a cause which we should take up on our own. We will wait for the support from the UGC, but this is immediately we should take it. That's how the National Academy of Law Teachers was started in 2012. And we started with the first program on the perspectives and teaching of intellectual property with the University of Washington. That was in March 2012 and January 2013. And we were able to get almost all the law teachers teaching intellectual property. Then Professor B.B. Pandey and Professor Chandrasekhar Pillai have determined, they said this is something we really wanted to contribute. And if you ask both Professor Pandey and that generation of teachers, they will tell you, they will speak about high about Dharwad jurisprudence teaching course where Professor Upendra Bakshi, Professor Rajappa, all these stalwarts of the first generation law teachers and second generation, they were there. So then they said, why don't we do something like this? University Grants Commission has an academic staff college where you have a 3 weeks program and which is into several different subjects. Why don't we have one specialized subjects? Particularly bring all the law teachers, let us share our experiences, how do we teach, how do we learn, and then after the criminal law, even criminal law was a really great success. We had Stanley Liu from the University of Singapore and another 2 faculty from Singapore was there. But the second workshop, Professor Pandey's and both Professor Pillai's suggestion is let us involve all, even including the judiciary and the legal profession and those who are really NGOs, those who are working in the criminal justice area. That made such a fascinating of learning experience in the criminal procedure. And then this is the third in this series of the evidence, and what we have seen is really is an enriching experience. Let us carry forward how we could go back and implement in our teaching programs in the criminal law. So with this brief introduction, now I would invite Honorable Justice